History has shown the Afghans to be proud, independent, and resilient people. For over 3,000 years, their country has been threatened by a succession of invaders, so they are also fighters. Today, they must fight again, this time to rebuild a country devastated by war. They've received much help from the many donors around the world, and they will need that help to continue in the years ahead. This short video, compiled from existing footage, shows just some of the work non-government organizations, NGOs, are doing to help them in this enormous task. When the earth beneath you lies waiting to explode into your worst nightmare, all ordinary life stops. Just consider the most hideous disaster of a refugee family returning, only to see one of their children disabled or killed by a mine they knew nothing about. No one really knows how many mines remain in Afghanistan. Demining agencies are systematically working through 118 square miles identified in 1993 as high priority areas. Mine awareness courses aim to educate a wide cross-section of the population. Dogs trained to detect mines are a great help in this process. The demining operation in Afghanistan is the most efficient in the world, with the low cost of around $285 per mine. This is the first task of rehabilitation, and because of this work, hundreds of thousands of Afghan families have now been able to return to their farms and villages in safety. More dollars are spent on the provision of health care than on any other sector. Healthcare takes many forms. The great majority of Afghans have never known what it is to have clean, safe drinking water that Western countries take for granted. The goal of NGOs is to greatly reduce the incidence of waterborne infections such as cholera and dysentery. The provision of a safe water supply has been a top priority for NGOs. The sustainability of these pumps is guaranteed. Local people are trained in maintenance. And the whole community contributes to the purchase of spare parts. Health education is often provided when pumps are installed. Clinics in rural areas and hospitals in the major centers not only provide medical services, but train health workers and teach the principles of primary health care. War trauma needs love and time to heal. Drug abuse is a universal problem. NGOs are educating farmers, community elders, religious leaders, and ordinary people regarding the misuse of drugs and the dangers of drug abuse. Women and children are especially targeted in health programs, as infant mortality in Afghanistan is over 30%. In many provinces, vaccination programs exist where there were none before. Preventative programs like this are designed to ensure the highest possible success rate. Orthopedic centers in both Pakistan and Afghanistan give limbs, mobility, and independence to many victims of polio and mine explosions. Afghanistan's estimated 15% literacy rate before the war has further tumbled during more than a decade and a half of turbulence. The goal of NGOs working in the education field is to provide primary education to as many Afghan children as possible. To support this basic human right, several objectives are being pursued. The teaching skills and competence of primary school teachers is being upgraded through in-service training programs. Thousands of new teachers have been trained. Considerable work has gone into development of appropriate teaching aid materials, which are provided to teachers after training. Teaching aids and textbooks are widely distributed to schools in Afghanistan. Over 1,000 schools in Afghanistan are being fully supported by NGOs, and many more are receiving assistance in various forms. Almost every sphere of NGO activity involves training. Training passes on skills and equips people to develop their own businesses, small enterprises which suit the Afghan culture. Community-based training schemes give many the opportunity to earn a living, especially important to vulnerable groups such as the disabled and widows. For the young who grew up with a war mentality in what is sometimes called the Kalashnikov culture, development of skills provides a practical alternative for adult life and contributes to the peace effort. Poor farming communities, often existing at subsistence level, comprise 85% of Afghanistan's population. Helping families return to their land and to productive farming involves a wide range of activities. The arid nature of much of Afghanistan makes water supply of critical importance to most of the population. NGOs are undertaking extensive rehabilitation work to canals, karezes, and other irrigation systems. New constructions are bringing a reliable irrigation water supply to hundreds of farming communities. In 1994, over $12 million was spent in this sector, reflecting the importance of this work. The subsistence farming sector has been the backbone of the country. It is critical that all efforts are made at this time to maintain and strengthen it. Hence, the agriculture sector has been given increasing importance in recent years. Its programs aim at long-term sustainability through the development of improved crops and the education of farmers. Seed multiplication is carried out in 6 different climate zones. Seed is distributed at prices collectively agreed upon by NGOs. Before the war, large state-run farms conducted research and to some extent supplemented the largely subsistence agriculture sector. Now, the goal of NGOs is to assist the small farmer by researching improved varieties of seed and providing other services such as tractor facilities, fruit tree plantings, seed multiplication services, fertilizer, and agrochemicals. Extension services educate farmers in new methods and provide advisory services free of charge. Loss of livestock, epidemic diseases, and lack of education were just some of the handicaps facing the veterinary sector. Now, programs for preventative animal health care operate in several provinces. Creating a structure where there was none before is a major goal of NGOs working in this sector. A system of veterinary training units staffed by trained paravets is in place in some provinces. They're equipped to cover large areas and to react quickly to major outbreaks of animal disease. The devastation of war and years of neglect have left roads, bridges, and buildings of all sorts in a very poor state. NGOs doing reconstruction work begin by reaching agreement with local authorities on what is most urgent. Community involvement is vital for the success of a project. Local people provide a labor force, often voluntarily. Repair of roads and bridges provides vital transportation links between villages and towns. These are necessary if other sectors such as agriculture, education, health facilities, and trade of all kinds are to develop and expand. The Afghans found mud and timber to be the most practical and accessible material with which to build their homes, schools, and public buildings. Bombing and years of absence mean many buildings need reconstruction from the ground up. A more environmentally acceptable option to timber is provided by the use of concrete beams. These are sold at subsidized prices to encourage rebuilding of homes and resettlement of families. Schools receive priority in the rebuilding program. There is increased demand for schools in many areas, arising from refugee experiences in Iran and Pakistan. This experience has also resulted in increased demand for girls' education. The architectural traditions of an area are maintained as far as possible, such as in Herat, well known for its domes. This ancient skill is being encouraged in rebuilding programs. Community building reconstruction is important for fostering local identity and community spirit. NGOs with funds provided from donors have made it possible for many communities to restart their lives. It is hoped that many of these programs can be handed over to an Afghan government one day. Other programs are building self-supporting mechanisms into their structure. Primary education and basic health systems should be the right of everyone. Agriculture is needed to feed people. Training programs aim not just at the accumulation of skills, but at income generation, which will support a family tomorrow. All these programs try to give people self-respect, to make it possible for Afghans to rebuild their lives and be self-sufficient. They help people help themselves. Our humanity demands that we assist them in this endeavor. We, the NGOs, thank you on behalf of the Afghans for the assistance given so far. We know that not enough has yet been achieved. But remember that Afghanistan was one of the poorest countries in the world before the crisis. It is even poorer now. Aid can be the answer.